All right, we are back, and it's still Crossfire with Dakbo and Yemi. We have a couple of guests in the studio, and we definitely will be talking about the challenges in Nigerian educational system and what is the way forward. I mean, obviously, parents have devised another very, very important way of ensuring that their children gets the best of education. Hence, the public schools have been abandoned for people who can afford to go there, and our children have been sent to the private school. I went to a public school. I don't know about Yemi, but I went to I went to a public school, and I enjoyed it. I mean, I don't think maybe something would have changed really if I had gone to a private school. But I went to a public school. I went to a public school myself.
Okay. But I must tell you, you can't compare the public school that we went to the
public school now. All right, we'll get to know more details on this as our guests begin to bring in strong points to help really analyze exactly where we are when we talk about education in Nigeria. We have Mr. Larry Kalikwu. He's an educationist and is the principal of Golden Line Schools in Lekki, Lagos. And then I have another gentleman who is in the studio with us. He's no other person but KIVE KOKORI. And we definitely will be speaking to this gentleman, talking about education in Nigeria. Now, let me quickly speak with Larry. Larry, you are an educationist. This is what you do. I'm very sure you probably have a decade or more when we talk about, as a principal, you do not only teach in the classroom, you understand what administration is, you understand what strategy is, you understand what curriculum is, you have an idea, an in-depth, idea of how school runs. Now, let me say this. Where exactly is the problem? And when we talk about the tiers of education in Nigeria, I talk about the primary, the secondary, and the tertiary institution in Nigeria. Where should be the focus of government, or what particular tier do you think is the most important that you think government should really concentrate on?
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
As far as I'm concerned, all the three tiers of education are very important.
Okay.
But the one that is mostly important is the primary section, which has to do with the grooming of the children right from childhood.
Okay.
But if you look at Nigeria today, you see that the way that children are being dropped out in schools, almost 37% pupils are dropped out today. Why?
What is responsible for that?
Because maybe let me say,
parental factors?
Yes, parental factors is also there, and financial factors also, finance. The reason why is because you look at the cost of education in Nigeria, it's very, very high. And because of these dilapidated building structures and improper infrastructures for education in the public sector, so you now see parents taking their children to private schools.
Yeah.
But normally, if you look at it, most people cannot afford the tuition fee in the private sector.
I mean, there's a twist, and I'm beginning to get worried, KIVE. My belief is that even government officials or people who have access to finances are not even sending their children to private schools in Nigeria. They make them travel abroad to go and get the kind of education and exposure that they want for them, and all of that. And many of us will just want to take them completely out of this country, not even putting them in a private school, as it were. Do you think both the public school and the private school, do you think there's a very big difference? Is there any visible difference when you do not send your child to the public school and you want them to go to a private school still in Nigeria?
Before I go on, I would just like to state that my comments would not be as an educationist.
Oh, definitely.
As someone who, so went through education and actually has noticed a lot of things with regards to the educational system. To your question, it's simple. Anybody would want to give the best to his children or his ward, And the issue is the Nigerian educational system has almost collapsed. Government has not invested in education for a very long time. and it's part of the corruption in the system, the corruption that has eaten into every institution in Nigeria. So as a parent, if you can afford to give your child the best education, you will. That should be your cardinal focus. So what we've noticed is the public schools are completely dilapidated in terms of structure, in terms of quality of teachers, in terms of
the population of
facilities and everything that is available to these students. So obviously you won't want to send your children there. For example, take a school like King's College. When I was in school, in secondary school, King's College was amazing. You understand? You look at the school and you're so glad. I went to...
That's a school almost everybody
Yeah, I went to GCL in Eric Moore. And when I was in school, GCL was quite good. You have children from parents from different strata of the society. The elite, you have their children there. You have the child of someone who sells, does petty trading. And, you know, so there's everybody. But now I go to that school and I look at it, I almost weep. So, you know, the thing is, we've abandoned our institutions. It's simple as that. Corruption has killed this country. And a country without education, to be honest, I don't know where we're going, because we're not educating our children.
Do you know, do you think that baffles me in public schools is when you go to the classrooms and you see the population of students in the classes. I mean, when I was in school, I went to public school, I think the maximum you can get in a class, maybe 30 students in a class.
Remember, at the time, we're just about...
In fact, UNICEF has a standard of a teacher to student ratio.
Yes.
I can't tell the ratio from the top of my head, but Nigeria is way, way far away from that.
We have 100. We have a class is called.
100.
Yes, or even more than that sometimes.
It's
Larry.
more than last week, Ministry of Education, they came to our school. So they said that the number of students per class in the primary school should not be more than 25 students.
Wow.
And that of the secondary school should be from 35 to 40 students. But if you go to these public schools, you will see a school that you have a total population of not less than 70 students in one classroom to be managed by only a teacher. So I don't think the teacher will deliver his best because the population there is more than expected.
Now, aside from corruption, that probably has eaten deep into, into virtually every sector of the Nigerian space. We seems to have totally neglected every other means of getting our education back into place. We have a myriad of problems. We have mentioned corruption, and corruption has depleted, or probably is killing children. We have dilapidated buildings. We have no supporting infrastructures. Many of the schools don't have water. Many of them do not have, chairs and benches, benches and tables where the students can sit comfortably and read. And I discovered recently that many of our schools are situated very close to main roads. I don't know if you have observed that.
Yes.
And so you can be in a classroom and you can hear a conductor actually saying K2 Ojotao, K2 Ojotao, K2 Ojotao, and that filters into the school environment. I mean, what kind of a learning environment is that? You understand? So now let's take a look at each of these issues. Where do we start from? Where exactly do we start from? Is this thing about us? Is it about the government? Is it about the student themselves? Because, there are a lot of players in getting it right going forward. Government have a part to play. I have a part to play as a student. Parents have a part to play. The teachers have a part to play. How did we get to where we are right now, Kive?
Look, they say charity begins at home. And every country's leadership is as a result of its society, because the leaders are from the society itself. The thing is, Nigeria has reached a level where we've deteriorated so badly in everything, in every aspect of life. So obviously that will tell in the way we bring up our children. Because the society has removed morality. And what we are so bothered about now is how to make money. The society has been so monetized. So people don't really care about how you make money. So education is the least of the thing that people are bothered about. Even the children these days, they are more bothered about they want to make money. You see a boy in secondary school is talking about wanting to drive a Range Rover.
You know, yeah.
You understand? So we've lost it. We need to start from the basics. We need to start
now, based on what you said,
education
I mean, sorry to interject there. I need to quickly, bring across to our viewers and even those of us in the studio who should be blamed. Now, when we say government, parents, or students, government, parents, or students. Now, when we say government, the teachers, come in there, and then parents, and then the student themselves. I don't know. I have a position I have already taken asking this question. I don't know what position you are taking out there. Is it government / the teachers because they are part of the government, or the parents, or even the student themselves? Because based on what you just said, there's a part of the student. You just mentioned students having to have big dreams. Now, dreaming big as a student, is it a bad thing? I mean, that will raise a lot of questions, as it were. But I mean, you were obviously a teacher before you graduated or were promoted to start being in the coordinating, arena of the schools. Now, what exactly is your position? Who should be blamed? The parents, the government, or the student themselves? And if you emphasize on primary education, then you need to let us know at the very age, that tender age of the children, they don't have a say.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Actually, if you look at the issue of education in Nigeria today, I know the parents are still involved. They have to be blamed. The government have to be blamed, and the children also.
So you are blaming everybody?
Everybody was shedding.
Yes. The reason why I say so is that, now, if you look at in terms of the children now, most children today, is the duty of the parent to make sure that they afford for the education. But most of them, they will live outside, education sector. You see them doing things that is not really in line with education itself.
Such as?
Like, at times they will abandon their books, go for parties, and all that.
Yeah, but I mean, the parents have a part to play there to ensure that their words are, where your word is at every point in time.
Yes. So that is from then. You now say that we have to bring in the parent now. Now, parents have to make sure that these children, they should monitor their movements. Now, if you look at phones that students use today, like a child in my school, using a very big phone in primary school, I saw the phone, I was like, how can you? He said the parent bought this phone for him.
BlackBerry Porsche.
Yes, I was surprised. Now, and I said,
probably a 7 years birthday gift to encourage him to study hard.
Yes. Now, when I called the parent, how can you give your child this kind of phone? He said he just gave it to him so that he can learn 1 or 2 things from inside. And I told the lady, but you know that this phone will be distracting this boy from learning. Because whenever the child comes to school, the only thing that has to come to play is that phone. He concentrates much on that very phone.
On the phone. All right, let's quickly take this call before we continue. Good morning, Cyril.
Oh, good morning, Dr. and panelists.
Good morning. Good to have you on the show, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I agree with the last speaker that all the stakeholders have their problems.
All right, sir.
I'd rather go straight to what I think we can do.
All right.
To move forward. First, we need to take distractions away in the educational system. What do I mean by distraction? Students today somewhat aspire to be in universities without necessarily passing exams. They aspire to be in polytechnics and other places without necessarily passing exams. It's a major distraction, and we need to take it out of the way.
All right.
And of course, what JAMB is beginning to do by way of computer-based testing, I think is a good place to start. Let it be clear to every student that except you study you are on your own. That would be a very, very good place to start. Another thing is the teachers. Again, they are also part of a faulty educational system. There are teachers today who cannot pass exams set at that level in subjects they are teaching, and it's shameful. We need to institute retraining. Retraining, those who are amenable to training should be retained. Those who are not amenable
should be sacked and go
should be thrown out of the system. Thirdly, I think also there should be computer-based training. There could be centers. Previously, we used to have libraries. Instead of libraries in towns, we can now have e-libraries where students, whether from poor background or whatever, could go and do study. And it could be synchronized in such a way that what the student is going there to do actually is part of the curriculum that has been thought out, part of assignments that have been thought out at school and have been given to this child. This way, we can augment whatever lapses we have in the classroom right there through these e-libraries. And today, the truth is, these things do not break any bank. And then finally, the government. The truth is, skills flow into areas of good pay, whether we like it or not. Skills will flow into areas of good pay. Many have vilified, a man like the former Delta State Governor, what's his name, Ibori. People have said all sorts of things about him. But I was privileged to be in Warri during the time he came into power. This man faced education. He faced education, and one of the things he did was that teachers had payday. And there was an influx, a massive influx of individuals into teaching. Today, the people who have payday are the politicians, not the teachers. And if you ask me, as a government policy, the first set of people that should be paid every month at whatever government level should be the teachers. Until they are paid, no other person should be paid.
Should be paid.
That would be a very good way to go forward.
All right.
At least the little that is due them, they will be sure that it's coming to them. Secondly, I think there should be incentive for going into teaching. I mean, if I trained as an engineer trained me. If an engineer chooses to teach, there should be a premium for his deciding to go and teach. Because
all right.
25%, whatever, markup on what an engineer in a comparable position in government will earn. And you'll find that talents will begin to move into our schools. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Quite insightful. I mean, that last, that very last part of the statement, very interesting. All right, let's quickly go on a short break now. When we come back, we'll be discussing about how do we really solve this problem. Now, we know that there are problems, and a lot of people need to be blamed. The government needs to be blamed, parents need to be blamed, students even have a part of the blame. But how do we go about resolving this issue? That's what we'll come back to discuss. We'll be right back. All right, it is on this note I quickly will bring some information across to you. And it has been said that Nigeria's education system is rather quantitative than qualitative oriented. Now, media reports often, reveal Cold War rape cases on our campuses, violation, initiation of students into various cult groups. Now, bribery and corruption, allegations against teachers, campus prostitution, sexual harassment, and exploitation of female students, and so on. Now, in the lower classes of education, such as the primary and the secondary school education, there are problems of lack of infrastructure, dilapidated building structures, overpopulated classrooms, lack of teaching tools, high school fees by private education establishment, and then it is also very important to know that military incursions into politics are also contributed to the devastating deterioration in the education system in Nigeria. Now, a sad incident of history was the forceful takeover of private and mission schools, which were pace setters in building, efficient, effective, school environment, and the military administration just took that over and changed a lot of things there. That is why recent, resolve by some state government to return schools back to the original private, proprietors is a very welcome development. Now, having all this myriad of problems across all the, tiers of education, primary, secondary, even the higher institution, I think we should just quickly talk about what is the way forward. I mean, you can be very specific. If it is primary, what do we do? If it is secondary, what do we do? If it is, the tertiary institution, what exactly, and how do we go about resolving these problems?
Let me come in there. You see, concerning these mission schools, I think is a great error for the military government to have taken over those schools. I mean, from what we've read and the experience of people who were, we know that the missionary schools are pace setters of education. Fantastic morals, good infrastructure.
I think it's important to let people know that when we talk about mission schools, we're not talking about Christian only. We have mission schools that are, backed up by Islamic organizations.
Exactly. I think when the government now take over those mission schools, most of them have been in Nigeria in the 70s, in the 60s, and they have great. They have brought out great. I mean, in
Lagos, to mention but a few, you have King's College, you have Batch Freeman, you have Methodist Boys High School,
Ansarudin,
you have Ansarudin, Anwar Islam Secondary School.
And then government now take them over, and then the standard drops.
Let me give an example to back up what Yemi has just said. Okay. I don't know if all of us know St. Gregory's.
Oh,
yes. St. Gregory's was one of the best secondary schools in Nigeria in those days. And it was taken over by government from the missionary. And the standard completely dropped. They've given it back to the missionaries now, some years back. And I can tell you that the standard of St. Gregory's today has gone up tremendously. Because these missionaries, most of them, that is what they do.
Yeah.
They are not distracted by anything.
By politics.
Yes.
So the thing is, we need to start reinvesting in education.
And they invest their monies directly into ensuring that the standard is maintained.
Yes.
As onto the public school, that monies are to go from one hand to the other, from one hand to the other, and eventually it does not even get to do the project. Let's quickly take this call. Usman, good morning. Hello, Usman. Hello, Usman. KIVE. Please
we need to start reinvesting in education. Start training and retraining our teachers to make sure that they are, they have the skills that they should use to actually bring up these children. And then parents as well they have a huge role to play. Parents have to start realizing that. That's
from the secondary to the tertiary now.
Yes, that education is what you give to your child that would actually make the child become what the child will be in life. The problem is we've lost the basics. So we need to go back to the basics and start reconstructing from the foundation. You understand? We need to start doing all of that, investing in infrastructure, in schools, and all of that. Even many students in public schools today, they can't even feed. A child that can't feed, how can the child even think of assimilating whatever is being taught? So, and now the world has gone technology and all that. There's so many people in school.
By now, I would have expected
they've never touched a computer before.
Yes, I would have expected. We use blackboards. There was a time I actually was following out on development in the educational system in Nigeria. We use blackboard, that is a blackboard and a chalk. And then at a point in time, we started having, whiteboards, final boards, and then you have markers. I thought that by now we would have even introduced technology into teaching. People will see, a lot of visuals will be used, computer-based, learning environment would have been created. But that's not what we have. Do we have that in Golden?
Yes, we are trying our best in Golden Lab.
At least Golden is a private university.
It's a private sector also. But if you look at the government sector now, now look at the last budget that was presented. I think it's about 4.3 trillion for Nigeria's last budget. Now, if you look at how much that was invested on education, It's just 10%.
Wow.
492 billion.
Okay.
Just 10% of the budget. Now look at
And that cuts across all the tiers of education in Nigeria,
Yes.
tertiary,
primary
and secondary.
Now, if you look at that 10%, will it be enough to, take care of the infrastructures, both in the primary, the secondary, and the tertiary?
What about, don't
institution?
Nigeria have skill acquisition schools?
We have technical colleges.
We have.
I mean, we still have technical colleges. We have we even have special schools.
Yeah.
People who go to study special, to teach the vision impaired, the disabled.
Even the
as it were.
technical colleges, if you get there, you'll be shocked what you see.
That's right.
There's no
Wow.
infrastructure. They don't have they don't have the tools.
Okay,
to
okay.
learn
Now,
from.
let's quickly, round off here. Now, our country, we have a change, now. I hope that, anyway, the 2016 budget is what it should cater going forward, and that means the budget from the new administration. What do you see? You see?
There's no reason why any government should budget less than 30%.
On
of its
education.
annual budget on education, because everything rides on education.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
The thing is, Nigeria years past have not budgeted more than, I don't think any government has budgeted more than 15% for education.
Wow.
They've
You
not.
know, and with that's even a starting point. We really don't care about it.
All right. In one word, what's the way forward?
The way forward should,
Especially in the private sector. Do you get loans to run a school?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Bank give loans to private schools
Yes,
to
yes,
run.
like
Okay.
my proprietor, we're just building our project now.
Oh, fantastic.
She collected loan from the bank.
The bank. Oh,
Yes.
fantastic.
So-
So banks are really sensitive to ensuring education grow
Yes.
in Nigeria.
Yes.
That's good. That's good to know. Yemi, your last word.
Well, I think education is the future. Education
Nigeria,
is
for
the
Nigeria.
future of Nigeria. If you don't take care of education,
Then we don't have a future.
We don't have a future.
All right, thanks to everyone who have been a part of our show today, from the studio to the control room, even to all the control rooms and everyone. I mean, this is how far we can go today. We'll be right back tomorrow for another very fantastic episode. Do join us. It's Crossfire on Channel 196 on Star Times. Stay blessed.
So, did you like what you just saw? I know you did. It's very simple. If you want to see more, just subscribe to our channel right now.